Good day and welcome back to the Flying Doctor channel. Today our journey begins at Kennedy International Airport in New York. We're going to be on a special flight today. We're going to hop on one of the longest domestic routes in the world. I'll show you what it's like inside one of Kennedy's newest lounges. We'll check out the Sapphire Lounge by Chase. And then we'll hop aboard this 11-hour mammoth flight from New York all the way to Honolulu, Hawaii. There's actually no Wi-Fi aboard today's aircraft, so I hope there's some decent onboard in-flight entertainment. Flight time is scheduled for just about 11 hours, so if you're ready for a long adventure like I am, sit back, relax, ready for another flight review. If you didn't catch on during the intro, I did film everything in front of and inside of the Centurion Lounge. Don't let that fool you though, the Sapphire Lounge was enjoyable. My experience in JFK's newest lounge didn't get off to a great start. The staff didn't arrive to open the front doors until 10 past their opening time. That's a minor problem though, and I was ready to enjoy the new space. As to be expected, a number of different seating options are available, prayer spaces tucked away in the back, and a light buffet section. Guests can also order plates on demand after connecting to the lounge's Wi-Fi. Admittedly, the selection isn't all that stellar. There's no reason why the on-demand options couldn't be placed out with the other buffet options. For those of you who hold a priority pass, you receive one complimentary access to this lounge annually. Finding a shower before my next 11+ hour stint inside of an airplane was at the top of my priority list. Luckily, the Sapphire Lounge has a well-appointed shower facility with Apothic products and all the other amenities I needed. After 2 or 3 Americanos and a quick shower to reawaken myself, I did visit the Centurion Lounge for breakfast. When it comes to food offerings, American Express took the podium. Honestly, there wasn't much competition between the two credit card branded lounges when it came to food. Full of breakfast and even more coffee, I figured it would be in my best interest to get some walking in before finding my seat on the aircraft. As I pace up and down the corridor of Terminal A, I'll introduce you to today's flight. Today's aircraft is Kiale. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. As with all Hawaiian aircraft, this 12-year-old A330-200 received a unique name. The 11.5-hour flight is scheduled to cover just over 8,000 kilometers as we chase the sun headed west. I'll be in seat 38 Alpha, a standard economy seat. Let's get back to the video and check out the interior of the aircraft. Atop each seat are a blanket and pillow. Definitely a nice thing to see on a long-haul flight. The seats themselves do appear a bit aged, but the unique fabric patterns end up distracting my mind. Economy is laid out in a standard 242 layout, though business class is in a somewhat outdated 222 configuration. Having finally made my way to row 38, I gracefully planted myself into the seat like a 747 landing on an aircraft carrier. I'll give you a bit more of a seat tour later on. As we get pushed back, listen to the engine spool up, and make our way to the active, let me give you some more information on some of the world's longest domestic flights. I've mentioned a couple of times now that this is one of the longest domestic routes in the world. Let me clarify exactly what I mean, because some of the more avid airline route geeks are probably aware that Air France connects many of their Les Outre-mer to France on 9,000 kilometer plus routes. On top of these quote-unquote normal routes, during the pandemic, Air Tahiti Nui operated a truly mammoth 15,700 kilometer route connecting Papeete to Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. For today's definition, I am specifically referring to domestic routes as those that connect 2 points of a nation, excluding their overseas territories, that do not require a passport check upon arrival for citizens. Based on that definition, routes connecting Hawaii to the mainland dominate the list.
Cabin crew, please be seated for departure. Mahalo.
The top 3 longest domestic routes all involve linking Honolulu to the eastern coast of the US. At 8,200 kilometers, Honolulu to Boston sits at the top of the list for longest domestic route, followed by today's route from JFK at 8,020 kilometers, and shortly thereafter, Honolulu to Newark at 7,985 kilometers.
Hawaii 51 Heavy, 124.013, runway 22 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 22 right, Hawaiian 51 Heavy. Departure Hawaiian 51.
Aloha! We are just about 30 minutes or so into the flight. Sky's cleared up quite a bit. Got a nice view outside. And what better to enjoy the view than some pretzels and a Coke. They don't have the Coke Zero. That would be my go-to choice. Went with the trendy DC. FAs did say there are 2 meals on board today. Something you will not get in economy class on any of the other American carriers. So, if you're interested to see what those meals are all about, what the seat is like, what the in-flight entertainment is like, stay tuned. About 20 minutes later, we received lunch service. There were 2 meal options on today's flight. The first was a vegetarian jambalaya, and the second was beef teriyaki meatballs. I opted for the meatballs and didn't know what to expect. After unveiling the food, I was actually surprised at how it looked. The veggies looked fresh, rice didn't appear dry or overcooked, and the fruit wasn't frozen or wilted. Of course, the taste test matters too. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize the meatballs were sitting atop the sauce, so I enjoyed the meal much more after making that discovery. It was pretty tasty. Regardless, I should make it abundantly clear that I am not a foodie. I eat to live and not vice versa, so my food reviews probably won't provide you with the most critical analysis. After the meal, I spent about an hour or so trying to relax a bit with the window shade down. It's just so hard for me to not stare out the window though. When I opened the window shade, we were somewhere over the snow-capped Rocky Mountains. I thought now was a good time as any to get up out of my chair and stretch my legs and check out one of the labs on board. I'm not a big loo review guy, but I figured it's a long flight and odds are, even if you have a bladder the size of mine, you'll probably find yourself needing to use one of them on a flight like this. As I am seated towards the rear of the aircraft, I made my way to the tail and found one of the more spacious standard labs in the sky. I had some elbow room, didn't have to duck my head or feel like I'm some sort of hunchback troll trying to wash my hands. After a nice conversation with the 2 FAs taking a bit of a break, I made my way back to my seat. Let's give this seat a bit more of a look, shall we? As you can see, this space is cramped. I am 6 feet 4 inches or 193 centimeters and found the legroom to be on par with low-cost carriers like Avelo and Volaris. We'll take a closer look at the IFE soon, but it's impressive to think that the aircraft is only 11 years old, yet the IFE looks at least twice that. If you're looking for more than a single USB port to power your devices, you'll have to pay the extra money to sit in Hawaiian's extra comfort seats or their business cabin. Where the legroom was lacking, the crew and catering certainly made up for its shortcomings. Another nice touch Hawaiian has maintained throughout the last few decades of airline cutbacks is an in-flight magazine. The magazine is updated around 6 times a year and provides readers with a handful of topics related to island living, culture, and holidaying throughout the island chain. Finally, there's the mandatory safety card. Throughout the flight, there were 2 stations set up for self-serve where the flight attendants had water available, as well as bags of pretzels, cookies, and some fruit. The IFE software and hardware are showing their age. From the physical side, the ability to tilt the screen appears to no longer function. These screens were designed to modestly tilt up or down to accommodate glare and viewing preferences. By far the most irritating aspect of this IFE system is the touch interface. Current technology utilizes capacitive touchscreens, whereby contact between the user's finger and screen can be measured by a change in the electric field. If you can remember to the early 2000s when commercial application of touchscreens became mainstream, you'll probably remember that you needed to apply physical force on the screen to interact with the software. To this day, you might come across this type of touchscreen in older cars, industrial settings, ATMs, or some airlines. There's a few other unique findings in the IFE, like the island guide, but this seems like it was a higher-ups or developer's idea that was started but never finished or updated. A flight map is available, but it's nothing fancy. If you're interested in seeing what Hawaiian's newest aircraft IFE is like, check out my inaugural flight video aboard Kapuahi. Just about 1.5 hours until our scheduled arrival, the FAs again passed up and down the aisles offering a second food service. Expecting to see some deep blue Pacific colors out the window, I just got a blast of sunshine reflecting off of the clouds. In an attempt to rehydrate, I opted for a cup of ice and a cup of water to accompany my snack. So, what did we get this time around? As an appetizer, Hawaiian serves a bag of pretzels. The main course was a chicken salad sandwich on wheat with lettuce, and dessert was another Hawaiian Cookie Company treat. Of course, I'm being sarcastic when referring to pretzels as an appetizer and sandwich as a main course, but compared to the competition, Hawaiian does serve a gourmet meal compared to what you might find on one of the other domestic airlines on a domestic long-haul route.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are making our final descent to the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport.
As we near the coastline, the flurry of FAs walking up and down the aisles remind those of us who have the opportunity to fly what some of the standard procedures the crew make in preparation for arrival. What we see being performed is the bare minimum of what actually occurs. In fact, planning for arrival begins before the crew actually board the aircraft. Aviation is hyper-focused on safety to ensure passengers and crew arrive at their final destination safely. Even with all of the planning, sometimes variables arise or conditions change that prevent the crew from executing their pre-planned ideal flight.
Tower, good afternoon, Hawaiian. 51 is LDA 26 left. 51 heavy, all tower, wind 20010, runway 26 left, clear to land. 26 left, clear to land, Hawaiian 51.
That right there was the sound of both engines at full thrust at around 500 feet above ground level. Why are we ascending again? If you've flown in a flight simulator, sat close to the cockpit on a modern aircraft, or watched landings on YouTube from inside the cockpit, you've probably heard
500 minimum.
Pilots are trained to adhere to strict procedures. If they don't see the runway at the decision height, they are required to go around. This is exactly what happened in our first attempt.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the captain. Those of you windows can see is a low cloud cover out here, and we did not see the field in time to continue the landing. So we're going around and trying the approach again. Sorry for the inconvenience. Mahalo.
Air traffic congestion can also necessitate a go-around.
Windows 1805, your traffic 2 back, don't stop as you round that corner, runway 19, clear for immediate takeoff.
For immediate takeoff, Brickyard 4391 on runway 19.
Push 5442, go around, turn right heading 250, climb maintain 3000, traffic on departure roll southbound as an ERJ. We're going around Blue Streak 5442. Can you say again, heading? Turn right heading 250, climb maintain 3000, Blue Streak 5442.
Runway obstructions like vehicles or animals on the runway can also prompt a go around.
Hawaiian 51's on the go, no fuel. Hawaiian 51 Heavy, roger, go around, climb maintain.
Wind shear or sudden changes in wind direction and speed can make a safe landing impossible, forcing the pilots to climb and try again. Instrument malfunctions can also lead to a go-around. If there's any doubt about the plane's position or systems, the safest option is to go around and reassess.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we did not see the field. We're going to try it one more time, and if that doesn't work, we're probably going to divert to Maui. We'll see what happens this time. Hopefully we get down and see the field. Mahalo.
As passengers, it might feel a bit unsettling, and on today's flight, one of the passengers in front of me vomited his distaste for not being on the ground into the air sickness bag. But remember, go-arounds are a standard part of aviation safety protocols.
Tower Hawaiian 51 Heavy, establish LDA 26 to the left.
Hawaiian 51 Heavy, Holland Tower, wind 2008, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Clear to land, 26 left, Hawaiian 51 Heavy.
Southwest 20.
Here we go again, our third attempt. While it might seem frustrating, it's all about ensuring we land safely. So, next time you experience a go-around, remember, it's all part of keeping you safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to welcome you to the JFK International Airport here in Honolulu. Local time 3:35. Please use.
Well, I survived one of the longest domestic routes in the world and enjoyed yet another flight aboard Hawaiian Airlines. This was my fourth flight with the company and first time on a long-haul basic economy seat. If you're interested to see what the extra comfort seats are like on the A330, A321neos, or their brand new Dreamliner, check out my other flight reviews with Hawaiian.
Alright, well, what a day that was. Quite the long flight, but you know what? I didn't even tell you when my journey started today. It actually started yesterday in Atlanta when I left and headed up to JFK and stayed about 3 hours in the Minute Suites. That was a different experience, one that I'm not really used to. But I'll show you what the room looked like. I did get maybe 2 hours of sleep at the Minute Suites before the flight. And then during the flight, nothing really for sleeping. It was quite cramped as I showed you, and finally made it to a place where I can actually get some sleep. But you know what? Hawaiian Airlines does quite a good job when it comes to transporting you across the country. Compared to the other big airlines like Delta, United, or American, Hawaiian goes above and beyond when it comes to their catering as well as their hospitality. It's an airline that I do enjoy traveling with, and I hope that one day you'll be able to try them as well. So until next time, thanks for watching. See ya.